Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Bradford Cloud User Group July podcast. Wow, it's been that long already. My name is Shabazz Dan. I'm joined by my co-host for today, Imran. Hi, Imran.
How you doing?
I'm not bad, Yar. How's it going? You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm getting there. I've been ill for a few days, but I'm fully recovered now.
You're
Back
looking
to
good,
back
mate.
to action.
Looking streamlined with that new haircut, I tell you.
Yeah. Lockdown's over.
Exactly. So probably people who are watching probably notice Mohammed Sajid is not with us today. He's not available. He's just got some family stuff and he's sorting out. But he's all good. He's all healthy. So we hopefully will see him next time, and you'll see him on the user group as well. So Imran, we've got a bit of a different guest today. We've had a lot of guests within the industry in various areas. Like we had Mark Vale on the kind of communication side. We've had Gregor and Richard.
We've had Lisa, we've had Shannon, Microsoft.
Yeah, we've
It's
had
been amazing.
Isadora and Holly.
Yeah.
A lot of people with a lot of years, a lot of time and experience within the industry. And again, one of our whole points of the user group is to try and get that next generation involved in IT and try and speak to them. So it's my pleasure today to introduce today's guest, who is actually almost, I'd say, fresh out of university. It's been a couple of years. So our Bradford Cloud User Group would like to welcome Mohammed Kariya. Hi, Mo, you
Hey,
all
here
right?
he is.
Hi everyone, you all right?
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. How about yourselves?
Yeah, right. How's
Good,
life?
mate.
Yeah, it's all right. Just obviously you live in Bradford, so weather's nice today. So
It
just
is,
enjoying the weather.
it has actually been quite hot today, hasn't it? It's been
Yeah,
good. It's nice weather for a change. Yeah.
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 Good luck, lad from Bradford, like myself.
First,
Good to see.
yeah. You know what? Thank you for coming on. I know
Yeah,
you're
it's all
busy,
right.
so I really appreciate you taking the time coming on. I'm really looking forward to this one, though. I've been looking forward to this since we kind of set this up, because it's going to bring some memories back for me and Shabazz. But also, what is it like today? I'm not going to start. I'm not going to let you all out at the moment. But as we ask questions, the university life will be good to go back to that. Just for the people that don't know you, could you start with introducing yourself and just give us a little bit of background about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm 24, grew up in Bradford. I went to Bradford University, studied computer science, enjoyed it. First year was really hard. Second and third, I brought it back, got a first at
Well
computer
done.
science. So that
Nice.
was a good achievement. I then carried on, did cybersecurity at MSc level. So I graduated at the end of 2019, just before the pandemic. So I was probably the last few that actually had a graduation. So I was lucky for that. And that was my academic experience. So yeah, I enjoyed my time at university.
Do you know something, Shabazz? This is the reason why I love doing these podcasts. Seriously, just learning about people. Amazing.
Yeah,
Someone coming out of uni, and very impressive, Mohammed. I wasn't aware you did a first class degree,
Mhm.
and your background. It just shows your passion's kicking in already. But just look, I
you're the
seriously love
first.
this. I totally love it.
You're the first, Mohammed. You're the first student we've kind of, or not student, or kind of recent grad that we've had on the podcast. We've had, like I said at the start, we've had a lot of people within the industry come on and give us their experience, and they've all been like, "Yeah, I've got 15 years experience in the IT industry." This, that, the other, much like me and Imran have. So it's going to be good to get your perspective. Can you just tell us a little? I mean, you had a bit of an overview there of you did computer science and you did cybersecurity and so on. That. Give us a bit more of detail as to what you just studied in your degree specifically. Some of the subjects and what did it actually cover?
So starting with my first year, which was in my opinion, was my hardest year because I did find it very difficult. It was that change from sixth form to university. It was more independent. So it was a couple of modules that we covered were like software development. There was two parts of it. One was just a foundation, one was more in detail. Then we touched on a couple of other subjects like how to work in a group, how to work projects, start to finish with a client. And so, yeah, it was difficult, but I mean, for me, that was the most difficult. Like it was that year was very hard for me. Like I was one of them that I had a resit at the end of the year as well. So
Wow.
it was one of them experiences where I was even thinking at the end of the year, is this even for me? Because you'd failed a module and you'd have to come back to you throughout the summer. You had to revise, and I didn't have the summer like everyone else had because obviously I had to prepare for my exams. So I had a resit. I passed it luckily, and that's after that I was more like, okay, I need to put my head down a bit more, and yeah, so it was just basically first year was just looking into the fundamentals of IT, and just basically understanding how just the basics really. It wasn't much detail.
Sounds very much like soft skills there. Like you
Yeah,
mentioned about client interaction and how to present, etc. And you are bringing back memories for me. I didn't have that. It was straight into like all the sort of technical modules. And again, I look back at what I did at university and what I'm doing now. There's no connection at all. So it's interesting, that soft skills piece. Actually, that's quite good.
It seems like the stress levels are still there from when I did it. You know,
yeah.
getting your assignments in. Oh man, when I used to hand an assignment in, it was like I've done it. But then I had loads of friends behind me who were stressing out, getting it in last minute, the dissertation, and that's not changed, has it, Mohammed? It looks like the stress
No,
is immense. It's
no,
still
no.
there.
It is still very much there. Like there were nights when I was at university where I had to stay up half the night because we had deadlines to meet, and as for me, even though first year was hard because it was that more transition from sixth form to university, but my second year was where all my exams were together. So I think uh, end of year I must have had 5 exams. So 3 of them were like a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, weekend off, then Monday, Tuesday exams. So you can just imagine how stressful that time was. So it is such. I mean, you look back at it now and you're like, I can't believe I did it. And but when you're in there, you're just like, how am I going to do it?
Do you
And
know
then
something?
especially,
Yeah, I still miss it. I went through all that
yeah,
stress.
yeah,
I met so many, loads of friends and from around the UK, some from around the world. I
yeah.
don't know about you, Shabazz, but I still miss that uni life. I know it was stress,
I
but
think I think you're crazy straight up. There's no way I missed it.
this is like 15 years ago, man. But I do miss, maybe because the campus I was in Leeds, and
Yeah,
it's like, Leeds Beckett's Park,
yeah,
and the
yeah.
campus is like a village, and it's like a
Mhm.
little village, and maybe it's because of that, but I don't enjoy the stress because that was just horrible.
Mhm.
How come
I don't miss it. I mean, when I was at university, I was because you're young there, you're young then. You do everything then, and now I look back and I wouldn't do half the things I did then.
yeah.
And it's just you just look back at the life, and it's just like now if you've been set at work, you actually want to do it within the hours that at work, and you don't want to take it. So when you're doing work like a normal 9 to 5, you just give yourself a 9 to 5. Try smash it out, and that's it. You can enjoy your evening. But back then it was like, all my mates are here. We're all at university. Let's chill. Or we want to go get lunch. Let's go have lunch.
Yeah.
Spend a couple of hours there. But then it's like, oh God, I have to stay till 12 at night now because I didn't do anything during the day.
So for those who probably don't know, me and Mohammed work together. We both work in that
Yeah.
company, and
Oh, do you know something? I didn't even know that.
yeah, we do. And he's said something before, and it's irritated me. He says it all the time. Oh, these young. You talk about people who are young. You're still young. You're like early
Yeah.
20s, for God's sake. It annoys me. We play football together and all sorts. It annoys me whenever he talks about young people because he's young himself.
Because now because I've come out of uni now, I consider young as people in uni. So when I'm talking to my like cousins and stuff, they're all in uni, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. It was like 3 years ago now, or 2 years ago.
You better not say the phrase "back in the day" because that
No,
will
no.
Yeah, you make me sound, really old.
So I mean, look, me and Imran speaking to you. If we ever get, I have nephews and stuff like that. If I speak to them, it's difficult for me to, I suppose. And Imran, you might be able to relate to this. Give them advice on stuff like university. Mohammed, you're literally fresh out. Couple of years, was it 2-3 years?
Yeah, so
Come out of uni?
2019 I graduated. So yeah.
Exactly. So 2 years, relatively fresh out of university. What tips would you give to those wanting to be successful and achieve a degree at university?
So I have a lot of young cousins and stuff. So because I'm because I've been through that process, it's knowing what you want to do at university and
Mm.
actually enjoying it. Because I have a lot of friends that have been to university and they've come out of university and they don't know what to do
Mm.
because they're not interested in the degree they did. They just did it for the the lifestyle, go to university,
Yeah,
um, like that. So a lot of advice I give to people is just be 100% sure that that is something you want to do. If you're not into the more academic kind of stuff, go down another route. So in IT, you don't necessarily need a degree. You can get an apprenticeship, you can get that couple of years experience, and you can develop your skills like that. You don't necessarily need a degree to say, I mean, the degree basically says you're perfectly capable of doing something. It gives you the foundation skills, and an employer would be like, yeah, look, they're a very academic person, but it's actually getting the experience in real life situations that actually makes you stand out.
very well said. Very
That's,
true.
you know what, that's very interesting. You just mentioned apprenticeship schemes.
Yeah.
I've had people come to me and say, should I go to uni? Correct me
Hmm.
if I'm wrong, but it's also depending on the type of career you want to go into.
Yeah.
So would you still say for someone to
Hmm.
get into IT, university is a must, or would you, it might be a difficult question, or would you say also look at the apprenticeship schemes? When I went to uni, there wasn't a large number of
Hmm.
apprenticeship schemes out there. And uni was the way forward.
Hmm.
What would you recommend today for to get into tech?
Yeah, so getting into technology, you need to look at how technology is in this current time. So this is a perfect place to say cloud is the future. So you
Mm,
need to know that, okay, so to work with cloud technology, you need specific certifications, and them certificates you can't get, you don't get them at university. So
mm,
I went to university, we did all sorts of courses like we did like cryptography, we did software development, we did computer architectures, formal foundations, AI for games. It's like a lot of that has not helped me in my work life. Like, I mean, it's I wouldn't say for me to be where I am right now, I had to learn XYZ at university to be in my shoes right now. So people should look at different options if they want to. I mean, fair enough if you want to, if you're not ready for that 9 to 5 working and you want to, you want a better idea of a certain module course and you just want to get something behind you so it makes you look as though you're very academic, then yeah, in some courses you need a degree. But I wouldn't say in IT you have to have a degree to be successful, because I've spoken to so many people in IT and some of them haven't even been to university, but when you look at the skills they possess, they can do things you wouldn't even expect lecturers to do sometimes.
So I kind of agree with what most saying there. I don't have any. I try not to have regrets in my life because I feel like
Hmm.
anything that I do that has a negative effect on my life, I learn from it. Okay,
Hmm.
so I learn from it and I try and better myself. With my doing my degree, I believe if I'd have done an apprenticeship when I came out of my A levels, I would be at least 3 years ahead of where I am now, in my opinion. So I'm 37 now. I think I'd be in this position when I was 34 if I'd done a degree.
Hmm.
And that is basically the length of my degree.
Hmm.
Even though again I don't regret going to university, I met loads of great people. I experienced a lot of things, and different and different people, different cultures. But from a point of view of my career,
Hmm.
um, having that again when I was interviewing for jobs when I came out of university, it was the experience. The companies wanted experience,
Hmm.
and what I did was I did they called it a sandwich course back then. More I don't know
Yeah,
if they call it that now.
still call it that. Yeah.
So yeah. So I did a year in industry, and that year in industry was like 18 months experience. It wasn't a year; it was longer than that because I worked both my summers.
Hmm.
But it was 18 years doing a help desk job
Yeah.
in Scarborough of all places, and because I had the IT experience, I was able to get first line IT jobs straight out of university
Yeah.
because I already had experience, I already knew who I was.
Hmm.
That's probably what got me into the IT industry. Without that experience, I think I would have struggled to get a job. If I'm honest with you,
Yeah, yeah.
I
So coming out of university, it is very difficult because you don't know what to do. There's you one thing I learned from university is they don't they just give you a quick overview on a module. They don't go into detail in a specific task or a specific thing. And when you finish university, you just like, what can I do? And you just like, I've just had the foundation to everything. I can't just do everything. And it is a sticky situation then. Like, you just don't know. You have to. And a perfect example is getting a first line job. A lot of people, even at Net Company, they started on first line roles, and they've just developed, and they've become now, after getting certifications. So it is very difficult. Like, I mean, I'd say unless you are a very good coder, then yeah, you can, you can get a good job and you can go into the coding world. But if you're not interested in coding, then you are very, you do know, you just come out of uni and you don't know what to do.
I've got. You know what? That is really interesting. I've actually got 2 points around two of the, two of the answers. One was coding and one was the university degree. I still find job specs that employers say that a degree is a requirement.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to change down the line, but I have found job specs where they say you've got a degree. Now, if someone goes for the job without a degree and someone goes with a degree, but they both got the same level experience, I guess the person with the degree will win. Because like you said earlier, Mohammed, it tells the employer that this guy's been doing something with his life. He's not
They've got them soft skills.
Yeah, he's been to uni and he can prove he can handle pressure.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's going to change in the future or not. But at the moment, I don't think the degree's going away very soon. I think Shabazz smiled at that. I think he's happy with that one.
Well, I know. Don't get me wrong. The universities and stuff they definitely have a place within our society. Even IT, But there's one thing. When I went, before I came to Net Company, I worked for another company called Concord Technology, and that's where I went into consultancy for the first time. Now, I was coming out of a third line job, and when I went to my interview, I literally had zero experience doing configuration or implementation. I had loads of experience supporting all the latest Veeam, Exchange, bit of 365. Anyway, I got the job, and literally the only reason I got it was because of my personality. The guy that hired me, he said to me, I'll be able to teach you skills. You can learn skills. Anybody can, but I can't teach your personality. And in a way, that's what university does give a lot of people. That's one of the benefits of university, that it gives you that you speak to people from Spain, China, Pakistan, India, Europe, everywhere, and you're going to deal with a multicultural environment. Which is what a business is, look at us at Net Company, Mohammed. We've got people. It's a Danish company, so we speak to people from Denmark every day. We've got people from Poland. We've got people from Vietnam. So, and I believe it's because of the soft skills that university has taught you that you've been able to transition so well. And it does have its place. Don't get me wrong; it has its massive benefits. I don't want to sit here and knock university. I went myself, so.
No.
Like I said, I wouldn't take that 4 years out. I absolutely loved university, but it's just, when you become putting things into perspective in terms of the skills you learn and what you're doing now, it's just like I said, is you love it, but it's this, not everything is taught at university, and like we said, it's more about the person you become when you leave university. So the first job I got at Smoothwall, it was more of a first line role, and it was more. I think I did get that job because I just come out of university. It's a first job, and I would be able to develop there. But coming to Net Company, I'm lucky because the only reason I got that job is because of my degree, because it's a graduate role.
So you're on the graduate scheme, aren't you, at Net Company?
So that is, I mean, the Net Company probably want people coming out of university because they know that they're capable of, like you said, is dealing in different situations, speaking with different people, and what you've learned in university, bringing it to Net Company, and with the right support and right guidance, companies believe that they can help these young adults.
Graduate schemes, I'm a massive fan of, and again, Imran, for you might not know, but Net Company have a great graduate scheme. But the way they do it is very clever. the graduates start off on the, we spoke about first line jobs, the sort of support and operations jobs. So they start off on those roles. And what they do is then they start building them up, giving them the the certifications that we spoke about, but not just like one vendor, Microsoft, AWS, and Google across the board. And then so that they have that foundation along all those vendors. And then when they get to that next level, which is a consultant level, that's where they give you that opportunity to branch out to where you feel you enjoy the most. So, Mohammed, I know you recently passed your AWS practitioner exam. I know he's working towards his AZ 900, and that's like as part of your targets as a graduate. I believe you need to do those. So that foundation level, that's what they're giving you, and then once you've got those, you can then decide. You know what? I like AWS or I like Microsoft.
Yeah.
That's
exactly what I've loved working at Netcompany so much, because you're working on projects and then there's certifications related to that project, and then they will say to you, saying, "Oh, so you're working on this project, get the modern desktop certification," and everything just comes into play. And the graduate schemes just support. I always tell everyone, if you can get a graduate scheme, they're the best schemes to go to, because they will support you. You get a mentor, you get a buddy, you get your own personal graduate manager. So it's just a win-win situation. And I honestly say the experience I've had working at Netcompany to the previous job is much better, just because of the support I'm getting, and they're just pushing you for the skills and the certifications. So I honestly couldn't knock Netcompany right now.
That's good news. It looks like you've had a good journey so far. Earlier on you mentioned coding, for example.
Yeah.
You get 12-year-olds coding today.
Yeah.
12-year-olds are getting into coding without going to uni, without doing an apprenticeship scheme, because they just want to do. I think it's thanks to games like Minecraft by Microsoft. They push you towards the coding. And my son is only 11. He wants to get into Python. So so we're both gonna learn Python and do some blogging about it. But yeah, these kids are clever nowadays, aren't they? Just getting straight into it. Again, maybe when they grow up, they might have enough knowledge on coding that they don't need. But one thing about universities that I didn't have before, is it wasn't as expensive. Is that's something that's putting people off university and going straight into apprenticeship schemes, because it's absolutely, I've heard it's really expensive. It's all over the media. And do you think that's putting people off from going to university?
There's the support is there with the student finance. So if you're going to be living at home and going to university, so I lived at home and I just traveled. Bradford University is literally 10-15 minutes away from me. So I was in a lucky situation where everything was done at home and I can just go to university. Student finance was helping to pay for the course. So if you're staying at home, I wouldn't really say it puts someone off. But if you're living out, then 100%. Like if you know that a specific university isn't very good at a specific course and you have to go to another city, then 100% it is going to be putting you off, because you got to remember the rent is high, especially with coronavirus as well. You just don't know. People are not going to want to. You're not getting that experience as I did, but I was the lucky ones that literally were the last students to have a full year at university. You're not having that hands-on experience, so 100% it is putting people off. But I'd probably say more towards the students that are living out.
Interesting.
You just touched on some of that, Mohammed. Like with your actual degree, did you get any sort of hands-on experience? About learning how to. We've spoken about coding. Did you learn anything? Did you do hands-on coding, or even like something as basic as putting together a small network, or was there hands-on activities as well as the theory?
Yeah, but like I said, it was very basic. The coding, I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to boast that I was the best coder ever, but I just found it very difficult. So we did have that. I say coding was the main module that we would have hands-on experience with. In terms of setting up networks, we probably did it once in my 4 years. So it shows that how coding is seen by universities, whereas how setting up networks. I never touched a firewall when I was at university. I never touched any MDM, never touched anything like that. So
Mental.
yeah, it is, because when you come out of university, like I said, is if you're going to go down the coding route, then you do have a lot of experience then, because you do get that hands-on. But if you're going to go down working with cloud technology, you're literally starting as though someone just come out of school. You're starting from the bottom.
What gets me with that, so again, Mohammed, your start to your career is going to be very different to mine and Imran's. We both started with your standard on-premises sort of solutions, VMware, Hyper-V, networks, and I had a very basic, again, like you, very, if you can call it a basic understanding of networks when I came out of uni. When I did a CCNA about 7-8 years ago, maybe more than that, about 6-7 years ago. That changed my career path, because when I understood networking, especially coming from an on-premise background, everything else just made sense. So for me, that should be an essential part of a degree, if I'm honest. What do you think, Imran? What was your experience of networking?
Do you know, it's kind of interesting you said that, Mohammed, because I thought it's changed when I was at uni, and we didn't get a lot of hands-on as well. But when that lecturer came in with a little hub, and he put this little hub down, and he explained the difference between a hub and a switch. And when he put that hub down and he patched it into one PC and then into the other, first time I was seeing this, and he was showing this was little mini network, and he shared those, and he basically created a shared folder on one of the machines. And this machine was right at the end, and this machine was in another room. And he goes, check this out. He copied that file from there, and it appeared on that machine, and I was like, wow, how did that, what happened there?
What's this
sorcery? Like, seriously, everybody enjoyed that class. And that was probably, we only had one of those classes. Yeah. But that's the only time I got to know a bit about networking. Yeah, they were talking about wide area networks, local area networks, which at first it was straight over my head. I was like, what are you on about? And then we got it. And then, but when he demonstrated, oh, this is a local area network, and he started patching it in, and when we saw that file flying from there, and magically, at the time, it was like magic, appeared on that. And it's like, how did you do that? Oh, this is the magic of networking. So I had, I think, one session in university, but it's interesting. They've not changed it since.
You see, times have changed though, Mohammed, because obviously, like I said, when we were at university, on-premises was like the big thing and the main thing. Cloud there was nothing to do with cloud really. But now that cloud's such a big, important part of industry and businesses and organizations, I would say that identity's taken over from networking as a must-learn. Because if you think about any, in the cloud, you have three sort of services. You have SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS, really, don't you? Those are the three sort of services you can get. Identity sits under all of those. Doesn't matter which one. But networking always doesn't. It's only really with the IaaS that you get. You deal with networks. So I would say, rather than networking now, identity is taken over as the thing that really, in my opinion, universities maybe should be teaching.
So like our university, I probably had 2 modules in 4 years on networking, and that was no hands-on.
Wow.
That was just
coding.
lectures.
Coding was more. Right. Okay. Yeah. I got that. I did Java when I was at.
Yeah, we did that as well.
I did Java coding, and I was really I loved it. I think I was the only one who liked it. I think it was Java, JavaScript, but we basically programmed the car to go on its own and stuff like that. And I think I scored like 92% in that. I never went into coding again. I regret it, to be honest with you. But I'm picking it up now, and I'm getting in. I'm not showing off. Probably the only one that actually did quite well in. I didn't actually get a first. I think I was about 2 marks away from a first, but they didn't give me the first. But yeah, I did a bit of coding then, and that was the only bit. And you know what? Like you said, codings in university, they really promote it, don't they? Everyone's doing coding. This has not changed. So it looks like that switch and putting up a PC together, that needs to come in, because I understood it so much better when he put 2 machines together.
Yeah.
And joined them together. And even when he plugged the printer in, and I was like, he's printing and stuff like that, and he was showing us how it works. I think he must have been told off because he didn't do it after that. It was really good.
Look how excited you've got Imran talking
about. Seriously, I've always wanted to interview, have a podcast with a university student, It's just, yeah, it brings back loads and loads of memories. I've got another question, just moving on. Do you know when you came out of university, how did you find, I know you obviously went to a graduate scheme and stuff like that, but how did you find the job market out there with so many students graduating? Did you find it difficult for opportunities, or did you get straight into a job?
I think a positive you have when going to university is you do like we discussed, is you become a lot attractable. You become attractive to a lot of companies. So I would say I was very, very lucky in the sense where on my graduation day for my MSc, I had 3 offers on the table.
Nice.
One was a first line.
He's showing off now.
I know.
So one was a first line role, another one was at Smoothwall, and another one was a pre-sales engineer. And after lining up the pros and cons of working at each company, I decided to go work at Smoothwall. So I'd say, like, when working in IT, there's a positive of working in IT is there's loads of jobs there that were always in demand. So in terms of finding a job, I wouldn't say it is very difficult, but it's the fact that you can't be picky. You just gotta get, like, what made me go to Smoothwall, which was a support role, was just to get that experience, and at least it puts you on the map that you've got experience, and you can start to when you start working, like, from the experience of people that already work there, you can start asking them, like, what experience do you have? What progression have you made? What did you do to do that make that progression? So you learn a lot from your colleagues as well. So in terms of finding a job, I wouldn't say it is very difficult.
Did you do work experience? Did you mention you did work experience?
No.
You did, because Shabazz said he did.
Yeah,
I did work experience as well. I did it. I thought, like Shabazz, I did it 18 months. So I did it again. I recommend work experience. Like Shabazz mentioned, I did a help desk role, and I did it for 18 months because I did it over the summer. But it looks like you've not done it, but obviously got a first class degree as well. So, yeah, I still recommend work experience, and I'm not sure about you guys, but I think work experience helped me massively to get my first job.
Yeah, it just gives you that hands-on. It gives you that real hands-on experience. It's not even the experience you get from university. It's just actually working in a environment where people are stressed. People are
real life, isn't it?
People have targets, and it is very important. And like I said, is when working at Smoothwall, that's where you get to see everything and you learn from others. So work experience is a key.
So we've discussed a lot about, how you felt when you came out of university, what sort of stuff you did at university. Now you've been in the tech industry for a couple of years. Obviously, you've transitioned from your first job into a graduate scheme. What do you feel the tech industry can do more? Is there anything you think they can do more to help those students that are coming out of university and maybe don't know what they want to do? Is anything that you feel they could do more of to help?
Yeah, I think the main one is supporting the young adults. It is very daunting, especially when you're coming from a relaxed, chilled environment when you're at university to coming to a real life working environment. It is very daunting. You don't know what you're supposed to do, like, correctly. You become skeptical about doing certain things because you don't know the procedures. So especially when a graduate comes, I think they should get extra support. Just starting from the basics and just helping them integrate within the team, maybe partnering up with someone that maybe has joined already as a graduate, so they can feed off their experience to them and help them, because it is very hard. Like, when I was at Smoothwall, I did find some days I'd go home and you'd be really tired because you've just worked so hard and you're worrying, oh, I've got to do this tomorrow and I've got to do that. And that, again, my hats off to Net Company, who have made that experience really good for me, and for other graduates that have come straight out of university without any experience. So graduate roles is a main thing that I think, if you can get, I mean, the only bad thing about graduate roles is they're very limited. there's not a lot there, and you've got hundreds and thousands of people applying for one role or a couple of roles. So there's a lot of competition in graduate schemes because everyone knows that that's where you're getting that support, that's where you're getting the help. Whereas people jumping into a normal job, they know that if you're going to do that, you're not going to get the support as you are going to get on a graduate scheme.
Yeah, so Mohammed, another question I've got is, do you think for new graduates, like something like this, because I know you weren't really, but you were a bit nervous when you came on, which is normal because I still get nervous, and I know Shabazz does. I'm not an expert at public speaking, but I get nervous when I come on. And then as you start chit-chatting like we are now, getting to your stories, you get confident. You're obviously sounding like a pro at the moment. It's like you've done it many, many times before. Do you think we should be doing more of this, getting on new graduates, helping them boost their confidence? Do you think,
it's not even just speaking to them when they've graduated, it's speaking to them when they're even at university. So at university, you do get, so except for exam season, you do have a lot of spare time. And in that spare time, if people from the working world do speak with them, they can give them ideas like go towards this certification, about the importance of certification. So when I was at university, I didn't understand. I was never told that once you graduate, that you are that's it. Like that's all we thought, and we weren't told that, or you will need, if you want to work in cloud, you will need some certificates to say that you're qualified enough to work in that environment. So it's just basically giving them and just helping them to know what they want to do as well. And hopefully, if speaking to people like you two, they'll maybe know the type of direction they want to go in as well.
It's interesting because one of the reasons why we set up the Bradford Cloud User Group is we want to do this, don't we, Shabazz? Once all the pandemics calm down, we want to go into universities and be able to give people a real life example of people that have been to uni and how we, kind of challenges we faced and support them on the way. And that's exactly one of the reasons why we want to get into universities and speak to students. Obviously, back in the days when you were a student, as you say, kind of speak to graduates like yourself and support and also support you. But yeah, getting into universities, I think that totally agree. I think we need to go into universities, not just us, other tech people, other tech companies, and they should be promoting tech and helping students out.
Yeah, especially with knowing that if you do this, you will become more attracted to companies, and so they have a certain idea. So if we tell them that cloud is the future, then they have a certain idea that, if I want to become successful and I want to get a job quicker, this is the direction I need to start looking into. And like I said, there's so much time that you have. Not obviously, you have the long summers as well. You've got time where you start university, you haven't got any assignments, you haven't got any exams. In that time, you can invest it in looking at additional qualifications, and that can help you. And maybe at the end of university, you can have multiple certificates, and exactly, I want to go work in this environment, I want to work in that environment, I want to do this. And yeah, I think it'll be very important.
So for those who kind of regularly watch the podcast and kind of join us on our user groups, you will be seeing a lot more of Mohammed. We are going to just probably a little bit of an announcement. So we are going to start bringing Mohammed on as part of our user group. And hopefully you will see some more stuff around universities from us. So that's hopefully more will be joining us. That's one of the reasons why we've got him on the podcast.
I think it'd be nice to have maybe a user group session where Mohammed comes on and we invite loads of students and get the students to ask, maybe like a little tech talk where loads of people come on and they can. I know some people are shy; they might not want to turn the camera on, but they can use a chat facility to get advice. That's a good idea, Shabazz. Actually, and looking forward to Mohammed coming on as well.
Yeah, we did speak to Bradford University recently, and they were very, very interested in this because speaking with lecturers, they don't have a lot of lecturers that teach cloud. So it's a market where there's not a lot of they haven't got a lot of experience themselves, so they need they want the exposure from people like us to go to these young adults who are they're very bright in their own way, but they might be lacking in the knowledge of cloud. And when they come out of university, that's when they'll be like, oh, so that's when they'll realize how big it is.
Interesting, that is.
Mohammed, we've touched on kind of, you know, coming out of university and what we can, the tech industry can do more of. For you personally now you've been in the industry for a couple of years, you know, what are your kind of future career plans from a technology perspective? You know, do you see yourself going down maybe the DevOps route or the infrastructure or, again, coding? What are your own thoughts around that? When do you see yourself going?
I want to widen. So at the moment, I've just got my AWS certificate. So in the foreseeable future, I would like to get my Azure fundamentals and then move on to the modern desktop certificates, because that's the space in where I'm working right now. And once I've got them fundamental certificates, then maybe whatever I enjoy the most, that's something that people need to know as well, that you need to go down a route where you enjoy and you want to do, instead of being forced or pressured into doing something. So yeah, I don't want to be the person that just knows one sort of thing. I want to be widely skilled. So that is, I'd say I've like again, Netcompany have given me that they've given me
Platform,
the
yeah.
opportunity, and they've said to me saying they want you to become not skilled in one, and be skilled in multiple aspects as well. So that is my plan. So hopefully within 2 years, I'll have a couple of more Microsoft certificates, modern desktop, Azure fundamentals, and like I said, is whatever I enjoy, that's the route then I would take and start becoming more and more skilled in.
If you had known about these certifications at the time of university, especially the fundamental ones, would you have been able to fit them in whilst doing your degree? You think you would have gone for that?
100%. If I would have known the importance of certificates, AWS, Azure, I highly recommend. I would have just done it, and I highly recommend everyone. If you do have time, you know, when you're at university, just get some certificates under your belt. And you think a degree people think a degree will make you stand out, but imagine having a degree and a couple of certificates and applying for your first job. It will make you stand out.
Nice, interesting.
That's great. Mohammed, that's kind of what we had for you, really, mate. That's been honestly really insightful. It's been a very different outlook on the IT industry. Someone coming fresh into it, you know, a couple of years. It's been really good. A really interesting perspective, mate. So again, thank you very much for your time. I mean, Imran, do you have anything to say before we wrap up? No,
just same again. I've been looking forward to this one, and it's just really interesting to kind of, you know, see from the perspective of a student, an ex-student from back in the days. Question mark. For me, those people that are watching the recording, you know, kind of, you know, there's parents, there's students. I think this is a great video to watch for existing students, because this video is just packed out with information. So students out there should watch this. If you know of a student, you know, who's in the tech industry, forward this video onto them. It'll be on YouTube very shortly. Once Shabazz has edited it and uploaded it.
Right, give me a few days, man. We'll be up early next week, we hope. So yeah, again, Mohammed, thank you so much for coming on. So again, I'll put all of Mohammed's socials in the description. He's on Twitter and LinkedIn. And again, like I said, you will be seeing a lot more of him as part of the user group as well. So thank you, and it's, you know, from me, it's goodbye.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
thank you, Shabazz and Imran.
Thanks. No problem.
Cheers, Mo.